Oseo.
Oseo.
Buenas tardes también.
Buenas tardes.
The team, Mexico, began there with Claudia and Vivian going on a tour down in Baja to pet the big whales. And anywhere south of the border is Mexico. The name Mexico I had showed a few weeks ago there with my portrait comes from Mexica. Mexica is the goddess born out of the Maguey. In the name Aztecs, well, it's a couple of things. For one, these people had believed that they came from Aztlan, which is now San Diego. All the way from San Diego to San Antonio actually is Aztlan, and it's given a whole new mythical inspiration of the people in Mexico to come here, no matter what it takes to get here. Gore Vidal had actually predicted out about in the 60s, he said they're going to retake their country here in the Southwest. And he said, but just one thing I want them to remember is that our revolutionary document is to find peace that gives them the freedom to do so, and it should not be lost on that score. Aztlan is the place of the heron, and the Spaniards took it to mean New Mexico, and that caused them, the Spaniards, to tromp up there to New Mexico and call that New Mexico. All of that. Aztec is also Azteca, meaning first water. There was a lake there, and these people boarded that island in that lake, and so that figures into this. I don't know what became of the lake. I think the Spaniards filled it in because it was where now Mexico City is, and so forth. And it is really interesting. I actually got my master's degree in Mexican art history 50 years ago, and I perhaps was one of the first at that time to take on that subject, and was a student in Mexico and so forth. So I do have an interest in all of that, and I, every opportunity, am going to forward this, and that's what I'm doing here today. Starting with Claudia and them going to Mexico, the next thing that popped up was that I discovered a hidden Mayan city in the lowlands of Guatemala. Had never been known before, with 60,000 buildings housing 10 million people. On the same week, that followed with public television with the discovery of a skull and bones of an ancient young Mayan woman, and was dated at 13,000 years old. And the forensic reconstruction of her skull certainly proved that she was Mayan, and so forth. And it keeps going like that. And here, this week, in the Sunday paper, here's the picture of Chichen Itza. I had presented a big banner of Chichen Itza here the other day. And so this is the tourist section, and what the article is about, that people nowadays are not just looking for, vacation fun, they're looking for an experience that's going to transform them. And come March 21st, at Chichen Itza, guaranteed anybody who's there is going to be transformed by the descent down the pyramid steps of Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan there. And the next inspiration has come just this last week. We went to see the Disney film Coco. It's spelled C-O-C-O. And what Moana did for Polynesia, Coco does for Mexico and beyond. It is the soul of Mexico, and that's really my inspiration here today. As the theme is Mexico, but the title of it is Firefly in the Night. Firefly in the Night is the Aztec expression for poetry and song. And this piece that I've made here, I've derived it from an Aztec codice that is ancient goddess they could actually call the goddess God, Ometeotl. And to really show how that the female, we can call her that, really does rule Mexico. The incursion of Europeans into Native America did not end the continuity of our history. It's only an incident in our continuation still here. What's interesting, the piece that I'm going to read actually was collected in the 16th century. It was written by we'll call it a poet priest, perhaps in the place of Montezuma, who was the last, quote, king of the Aztec capital. The Aztec capital is Tenochtitlan, which was the island that these people settled on. It is named after the chief who led them there, Tenchu. So Tenochtitlan means the place of the chief, Tenchu, there. So it is an island, and so you can hear about the water, the barges and everything that are going to appear in this. What's very interesting is that the poet seems to have seen what we call the handwriting on the wall. Perhaps by now the Spanish pirates have landed in the Gulf cities of Veracruz, so their appearance is already known. Where the poet is now speaking of the glory, the wonder of Tenochtitlan, and then he suddenly changes from hope into despair of what is about to happen. So I've called this place an ode for Mexico. The city spreads, making circles of emerald, scattering splendors like feather of Quetzal in Mexico. In her, there is coming and going of barges, transporting the champions. Flower mist is spread over the people. It is thy house, thou giver of life. Thou reigns here in Anahuac. Is thy song heard? It spreads over the people of white willow and white tule. This is the place of its habitat. Thou blue heron, opening thy wings, come flying. Here, wing and tail dost thou open to beautify thyself among thy vassals. In the whole land of Mexico thou reigns. Let not the Lord Lady escape us as she wanders vagrant. O Montezuma, it is in your mind to wonder who shall serve the Lord Lady, the creator of life, who came to nourish us in heaven and on earth. As the bonfire burns, the word of the Lord Lady speaks, soaring. At the four corners of the earth, the warrior makes the dawn burn, an offering to Montezuma in Tenochtitlan. With bands of kettle feathers, they go in barges, singing and sad. How shall Tenochtitlan remain standing? How shall his God rule here? Gracias.